Pardon me. What is wrong with you, little MacBook? Although, mind you, are a 1707, so you're not a little MacBook, you're a big one. And you're a 928 board. Hey Jim, good to see you first up tonight. Jump 889. Eight two zero. Let's say 928. Right. Date. And good evening to everybody. Can't really call you all out, I'm sorry, not tonight. Okay, let's get the battery disconnected. So yes, this machine boots, but it suffers kernel faults even after it's had everything reinstalled. Yeah, so there's multiple causes for kernel faults. One of the big ones can be poor voltage regulation, or it can be dodgy storage memory. So yeah, it's a bit of a trick one, Ed Boss. And if I seem a little bit quiet, it's just I'm feeling quite tired, and I'm fretting about the state of the property next door to me. I'm kind of worried that it has in fact sold. I missed my opportunity to catch it at a reasonable price because I spent all the money on a back patio and tiles. I mean, I still have enough for a deposit if I want to, but I'll have to think very carefully about it. And that's only assuming if it is still available, that would only be assuming they accept the price that I've offered them, because the bank is going to want a 20% deposit, and I'm pretty much at my limit. I don't like riding my finances to the limit. I did far too many years of having to do that, not through choice but through necessity. And now that I have greater financial freedom, i.e. I'm not burdened by crazy number of unintended debts, I don't really want to go back there. Tradies blocked the central business district today by having I saw that, Andre, yeah. I saw the ABC article on that one. As the workers' union for you. I mean, I do believe unions have some purposes, but many a time I feel like they kind of overstep their bounds. And they just go into the whole let's hold the country to ransom type behaviour. Now, one thing I've noticed on this straight away is there is a missing screw here, but I suspect it was simply by accident, simply that the people who inspected this before just forgot to put it back in, that's all. Nothing needlessly nefarious. I think my opinion of trade unions and things like that sort of went to their low point when, as a kid, now admittingly I would have had very limited perspective of the context of the situations, but as a kid I saw them basically holding the country to ransom. I think it was around Christmas time. It was a aircraft fuelers strike, and so people, they're just not bother refueling the planes or anything like that, and just caused a tremendous amount of chaos. And I think I was perhaps 9 or 10 at the time. I can't quite recall. I'd have to check the dates of when that happened. It was certainly, I believe, before John Howard came into power, so it would have been Hawke, Keating era. I can't remember. But I thought it was just a bit disproportionate. I understand, of course, they will say that, desperate, and they basically become the very thing that they're supposed to stand up against, but just in a different uniform. Another screw there. Gotta take that out. Kind of helps if I do take these screws out. Well, I do apologise about the buffering, but once again, there's nothing I can do on this side. As we experienced last night, it does tend to pass on its own with no intervention on my side. Oof, some good corrosion on this one. Hey Hyperman, how's the stream going for you, Hyperman? Is it buffering and whatnot? Because on the outbound, when I look at the statistics, everything's hunky-dory. So it's tools, view stats. There is absolutely nothing red in my statistics, I'm afraid. Okay, so hopefully we find something amongst this trash pit here. Yep, I can see a few things there already. I haven't even washed it away. Just going to quickly go over this board, but check everything. I know it's really fast for you guys, but I do tend to do things in overlapping cycles. Some people like to be pedantic. I like to do overlaps. Alright, so I'm going to say it's on this side over here. We'll brush that away and have a look. Okay, if I had to guess, I would say it's probably whatever just fell off there and this sort of stuff, because under here we've got, I don't know if it's a storage or memory chip. Oh yeah, that's also bad too. But under here it's storage or memory chip, and I have suspicion that that cap probably was on one of the rails. That's bad too. That's bad. Well, I'm happy for it. Andre, that's a awful description. When I think of French women, I just think of Alizée doing her live performance of whatever the heck that Goldfish song is. And I think that puts me in a calm state of mind. For those people who don't know the Alizée live Goldfish song performance, well, if you do go and watch it, I do suggest you do so when it's quiet and no one's around. It's on YouTube, so you know it's not that bad. Pro engineer knows. Yeah, it's actually a good example of how to do things without being how could you say, explicit. The main thing is, of course, I think it's around about the 3-minute mark in the song. I'm just checking over everything else. but I'm feeling pretty good about the fact that it's going to be that corrosion on the backside of this section here. And Jimbo, right, now I'm not going to have any viewers for the next 5 to 10 minutes at least. And then my wife is probably going to come in here and give me a stern look. She's going to be like, who is this French whore? I only said like that because in Futurama there is an episode where Elliot ends up making out with a husband or something like that, and she gets called that in a certain way. Alrighty. That's going to be a little bit tricky to replace, but let's go find out what that part is. It's possible to have 2 streams at the same time. Okay, well, clearly there's some advanced human beings there that can do that. I cannot. Hi, Catherine. Good to see you're still here, though. Yeah, Fixer Pro, I did probably lose about that many. It's called the Goldfish song because it's mentioned in the lyrics. If you translate, it's a fairly nonsensical song when you translate it. It's got more meaning if you actually understand French, and it's a bit of a play on words and terms. Okay, schematics. So this here is the cap. A for media. Okay, so that is part of SWD debug mux. Okay. System on chip debug. System on chip clock. I actually don't really know what that chip really does. So what is this? T208 support, alright. Okay, well that there in that case really isn't going to be associated with that. But there's certainly a lot of stuff we have to fix up here. Some of it's going to be tricky, like getting in here and fixing that up, that is going to be a little bit tricky. That there needs replacing, that needs replacing. I'm going to replace that as well. Anything that sort of started to go like that, I probably should replace because it will probably fracture later at some point. Those ones may not be so bad, hasn't gotten into the actual body yet. So, oh, you can't see. Damn, Paul, when are you going to learn? Go quad display. No, there's no Sean Connery around here. Okay, C4211. So CPMU, Berkelium. What does Berkelium control? Okay, here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so this capacitor's got damage on it, and it goes off to the SRAM. So that is a more likely culprit. That one there. That's got ties with the SRAM. Likewise, this probably does too, and that. This one probably not. So I think if we clean this up, we're probably going to find our solution. These ones here, not so much, but we're going to clean them up anyway. Likewise with the damage up here. This is more, yeah, that's just your input MOSFET for your CD3215s. So overall, something rather corrosive did get in here. I'm not really sure what it would have been. Almost like, if I had to guess, things like hydrochloric acid vapor, fuming, some sort of fuming acid. Kind of just feels like that. It probably wasn't, but it just gives me that feel. So we're going to start at the bottom, work our way up to the top, cleaning up what we can as we go. I really don't know what to do about this cap under here. It's a very awkward position. We'll try our best to replace it. Viewers should be returning by now. You sure you don't want to give another 5 minutes in the bunk? Even I've got to make sure you actually sent the right link. Because there's the, oops, something went wrong. Oh. Please stand by, technical difficulties. Puke is another option. Oh wow, that's really old. No, that's not the right one. That is not the right one. That's the low quality one. I don't know if there is the high quality one anymore. Oh well. Anyway, that's not the proper one. And people are making me have to sort this stuff out. There we go. I'm gonna get banned for this. Anyway, let's get back to repairs, because that's what really matters here. Above everything else, this is what matters. And as far as I can tell, actually the corrosion on that may have taken out that pad. That pad is actually gone. So I'm going to have to probably scratch this back and put it on slightly diagonally. Same song, but the video is everything. It's specifically that live one at that particular show. Everything else is just a weak impersonation of that. But anyway, people will get the gist of it. Put a hole in that. The only other person I think of when I think of a French woman as such is, I know many of you have watched the movie Chocolat with Johnny Depp in it. That's a pretty good movie. It's actually got Carrie-Anne Moss in it as well. And if you don't know who Carrie-Anne Moss is, well, I suppose I can forgive that, but not that I'm a raving fan or anything, but just normally people associated with the Matrix you usually know about. Upsampled 4K one. Alright, looks like that's going to have to be something to look forward to. Travis, that face does not look like she's 12. Do you think she looks like she's 12? Then there's... yeah, I would never think that in a million years. But Chocolat was a good movie. It actually legitimately was. Michael, you don't want to know. Just me being a typical male idiot, that's all. I'm pulling up this part because I'm worried there's corrosion under it. And because I can't get a good viewing angle on it, I don't really have any other options but to extract it from the board. And in this particular case, it looks like it was alright. Travis, she's French. (1984). She's only 2 years younger than my wife. I should say, she's only 2 years younger than Alita. I've been married to Alita for 20 years. There's a fair number of parts I need to just knock off here. Pro engineer, 10 years, okay, cool. It goes pretty quick, doesn't it? I remember when we first got married, the wedding was a bit of a dud because of various things, not least of which there was 9/11, and at the same time half of Australia's flying fleet, well, the company basically just collapsed. There was the great Ansett collapse, which meant a lot of people didn't turn up. And I had basically 2 people on my side of the aisle. That was fun. I didn't really care that much, to be honest, but it was amusing. And the weather was also too hot. I had originally planned the wedding for September 1. And due to pleas of various family members, we shifted it back to September 15. And as a consequence, in those 2 weeks, the weather here goes from being perfectly fine during the day to painfully hot during the day. And so our wedding was painfully hot. 9/11 had just happened. The collapse of the airline industry happened. And although we laugh about it now and it's actually more appropriate, the horse and carriage that we ordered, it actually was a Shetland ponies and little box carriage. So it actually suited the scenario because it was a ghost town that we were getting married in. But yeah, there was a bunch of things. Anyway, so getting to the point, there was sort of the general talk of, well, look, we'll have another event in 10 years. Because that's a long way away and we'll sort it out then. Anyway, 10 years came and went real fast and there was definitely no plans to do anything. What we did do though is that on our first anniversary we went back to the same place, the same church, and we got dressed up again and we took photos because, that was the other thing. In the original wedding, the photographer was terrible. I think we had maybe 10 photos that were in focus, the rest were unusable. So, so we went back the next year and we took our own photos. I've got to replace these parts. No, I don't actually have a 928 donor, so I'm going to have to fudge it. So it is this NLSX 4402. I don't even know what that is. And my mouse pad is giving me grief, so I'm going to wash that. What doesn't help with weddings also is that, well, at least for me with our wedding, I just wanted the wedding to be over and done with. I just wanted to get on with life. I wasn't not a fan of the great big celebrations or events. Just get it officiated, get on with life. But yeah, I suppose most men feel that way. I remember 9/11, I was programming my email filtering software and I was on IRC chat, and then I just joined and there was all this. I remember the words, something like, someone's going to get their ass kicked for this. I just remember that being one of the first lines. And I said, what's going on? They said, just turn on the TV. And I was like, why do I want to turn on the TV? You're in South Africa, I'm in Australia, how are you going to know what's on my TV? And they said, just turn on your TV and you'll find out. And sure enough, I turn on the TV and it's all over from there. So sadly, it is, for most people, one of those events where everybody remembers where they were for all the wrong reasons. This mouse is giving me the willies. A3X. No, honestly, it tracks like the old ball-based mice when they would get gunk on them. Okay, gotta find a part. Aussie Man's review of Yannick Garcia. That's the Mexican weather lady, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. Wasn't that the review that sort of propelled him into popularity? Or infamy, I should say. I don't believe the guy believes in popularity. I'm fairly sure he values infamy a lot better. With a higher regard, I should rather say. Okay, so let's see, stop search. I've got a 239, so we're going to search on where that is. Something's really messing with the mouse, and I actually don't think it's the mouse, I think it's the CPU. Alright, it's this chip here. Can't help with the buffering, I'm afraid. Although I might switch over to board view, just in case the CPU's taken a hit, but it's only at 23% on the CPU. Probably would have been smarter to put that cap in first. Let's see, 100 nanofarad, 63201. Let's draw from our own stock. the upside of drawing from fresh stock rather than using a donor part is when you're in tight situations like this, it's often advantageous to have a cleaner set of contacts. It'll make it jump down a bit quicker. Yeah, I got... what's that noise? That was a very strange noise and I don't know what it was. Ah, now I know what it is, right. That's kind of spooking me out for a second. Alright, closest I've got is 16 volt and that's more than ample. Little slimy little... you're not slimy, you're just tricky. Trixies. If we put a little bit of flux in there, hello Jason Vilmer if you're stalker listening, add some hot air, it might actually go where it's meant to. Or maybe not. There we go. Done. Looks like Jason actually must be doing real work today. Okay, 4460, same thing, except this one is actually a 16 volt. So I'll put that in. Evening admin. Mr. 555, how are you? I gotta ask 555, do you do any new electronics projects or anything like that? Or are you just happy to run around with such an iconic name? Sure, yeah, that's deliberate. There was no pad left for me to place that part onto, so I had to scratch back. And after the scratch back, I at least had enough copper trace for me to put it onto, which I'm very thankful for, rather than having absolutely none and then not knowing what to do. And I would not like to leave that without its decoupling cap. Okay, that's out of here, that's out of here. I'm going to take you two. There. The Knights who say neat. I'll take a nice shrubbery, thank you. It is only a scratch. And beware the rabbit. Still, who doesn't know those shows? Okay, 4211. That's an unusual one. 4.2 microfarad, 16 volt. Well, You're just quite the nuisance. Another 4.2. Okay, so this one down here is a 1 microfarad, 10 volt. It's a 402 package. It's called a retro project. Oh, okay. I have a small channel embarrassed to show. Oh, okay, alright then. What is your retro project? Anusa? Oh, by the way, that 3437 board from yesterday, it went through the ultrasonic clean, it all came up good, except the screen is no good. The screen has physical damage in it, which I was not happy to see. Fortunately, it is a 1466, so I've probably got a spare one around here that I can let go, just so that I can capitalize or cash in on the rest of the job, because I would hate to... Let's see, 1 microfarad 10. I would hate to lose all the potential income from that work over a screen. So basically sort of like, so okay, well fine, I'll give the screen at a bit of a cheaper cost in order to recoup the board repair cost. Alright, 1 microfarad 10. I don't know why my brain isn't holding on to that one. 0.1, 0.1, 10, 1, no, 6.3. You kidding me? Come on. 10, 1 microfarad, 25 volt, that'll have to do. It gets frustrating how many times that you don't have the exact combo that you want. Retro car audio. You don't deal at all with those really crazy, very early car radios that had mechanical voltage boosters in them. Were the boosters or I think they were boosters for the valve grid voltage or the heat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was for the grid voltage, not the heat of elements. But yeah, they used to have basically mechanical switch mode converters in them. Hey Keith McDermott, good evening. Alright, so now I need to find these other annoying little caps. I wonder if the battery's just going a bit flat in this. Miles, I don't get the drawers because honestly, I don't like them. I really do not like them. I prefer to keep everything in my little baggies and strips. And the key is to, if I'm going to try and make things better, I'll just narrow the range of parts within a given box. I don't like the small compartments, they drive me mad. You can never hold enough inside of them. Okay, this mouse is really... It's got to be the surface. No? No, seems like as usual the bloody USB on this has gone all wonky. Oh no, that one's doing fine. I find it interesting that they've actually gone for a 4.2 microfarad. 4.2 microfarad is not really your typical standard. Normally you would see 4.7. I mean, it is in the next gradient down, like the division gradient, but it's just interesting they went 4.2 rather than 4.7. See. Nah, it's not the low battery. It's just the surface. The optical mouse doesn't like these mats, it seems. Huh, seems like the iPhone 6 has what I'm after. Yet again, the iPhone 6 comes to be our saviour. Now, there's a lot of bad caps on this board, Pinno. We haven't finished removing them yet. Hey, Greg. Joseph. Thank you, Joseph. God damn, I just realised something. Sorry, 555, I just noticed this. Let's see, there we go. Alright, iPhone 6s. Let's see if it's legit or whether it's an overlap. And that is in fact legit. Okay, 1409. Oh, it's under that section. Ugh. That is a ugly section of the iPhone 6 to get to. Anyone who's done a baseband CPU replacement or a reball on the iPhone 6 will know exactly why it's an ugly area to get to. Let's see, my other one might already have. Okay, Barry, take care. Alright. Yeah, with the iPhone 6, there's a shield that sits over... Have I got this the right way out? No, this is the wrong way out. Damn it. This thing is jammed in from the flux. Yeah, there's a shield that sits over this section, and all the other shields on the iPhone 6 are pretty easy to get off. You can just use gravity method. But this one here is a screaming nightmare because it's got this middle beam of contacts in it, and you can't get enough heat in them usually to get them to lift up before you start cooking all these parts. And I actually think I think it's not even the right side. Am I on the right side? Yeah, I was actually on the wrong side anyway, so I was wrong. I don't have to remove that shield. This is on the TriStar side, which is much easier. I'm just losing my mind. That's why I thought it was this side for an instant, because I recognised the pattern for where the caps are. Ah, DeAndre96. Yes, it has been a while. What have you been up to? You've just been avoiding me because you don't like me, or... Just kidding, of course. Everybody likes me. Okay, both of these are 4.2 16 volts, so we're going to snag them both because we need 2 for the MacBook fix. Won't take long usually with this. There we go. Ach nee. The board is cold and I'm fumbling. Sounds like the start of a bad short novel. Maybe we should write novels, mystery horror novels about MacBook repairs. Oh. Really? Really? There we go. That was a close one. Yeah, the mistake I have made here is that because the caps aren't actually directly next to each other on the board, I'm gonna have to do some, there we go, do some stuff like that. Hey Rose. Yeah, I'm toddling along. That's probably the best word for it, toddling along. I'm having some anxiety about, I don't want to lose the option to, oh man, this chip's starting to peel off. I don't want to lose the option to acquire the property next to me, but I'm thinking I am going to lose it. My god, that's some bad corrosion there. I know, I'm becoming a real sort of property hoarder. I feel like I'm playing Monopoly or something and I finally got my first, you know, probably Kent Avenue or something like that. And now I want more. More! Except we'll spell Solder Bridge as Solder Bridge. That'll confuse the Americans. Trying to see if any of those parts came up. Fortunately they didn't, but this resistor here I might replace. It's a little bit messed up. There's a crack in that cap there. Or at least I think it is. Yep, that's definitely a crack in that. The cap says nay. I am but dead. Rock on. I'm amazed this machine even booted. I mean, to be fair, unless you plugged in probably to... I'm not even sure what that cap is for yet. You're out of here. You're out of here. You're out of here. There we go. Slightly happier environment. Not much, but slightly. Hey, fixing things. Been a while since I've seen you. How's things going on your side of the country? Have you guys decided to depart from Australia yet? Hey, NSZ from Netherlands. Well, I don't know if I'll call it a real estate bug, because yeah, it's not like I want to sell and buy places like for other people. I just want some more land. I need more land. And the place next to me is 4,000 square meters. So let's see, 4,000 square meters into, so that's probably about 40,000 square foot, and I just want it. I'm hoping I convince him that it's actually moderately worthless because the house on it is complete trash. The house basically has to be demolished, and it's got a lot of illegal things on it, certain types of water tanks that you're not supposed to have, basically with no tops on them, a lot of derelict old building bits and pieces on it. So if I can get them down low enough, I might actually be able to afford it. Yeah, Andre, it'd be good storage indeed, yes. Alright, so again, because we do not have this board as a donor anywhere, we're going to have to go through, individually find the parts and replace them. Pardon me. Let's see, let's start with the itty bitty resistor on the side here. That's a good old 10K 201. So go grab one of those. Oh, that's right, I bought a squillion 201 resistor sets. Which means I have to do it the hard way. Basically, I bought, these are all packets of 201 resistors, and I haven't had a chance to split them out into appropriate ranges. So usually I'll sort of go 0 to 1K, just over 1K to 10K, yeah, just that sort of patterning. So when you pull out a box, you already know what kind of range you want to go for. It would be very unusual if I did have a 10K in here. I've got a couple of 100Ks, that's just so typical of me. 10K, there you are. $10K is definitely one of those highly used values. It's in terms of resistor values, it's kind of convenient because it's enough impedance or enough resistance to stop bad things happening, but it's small enough that you can still get sensible amounts of sensing current going through without being subjected to too much noise. It's a useful value. It's good for pull-ups, it's good for pull-downs, it's good for input protection, so many uses. Have you noticed new boards take a lot less heat to get things off? Certainly of the smaller ones, like the 1958 and the 1598, although 1598 is a bit bigger. They don't quite seem to have as much thermal mass, but I also suspect some of that could be because they don't need to carry quite as much current as the old ones. Like if you look at a lot of the boards now, they maybe use 15, 20 watts of power in total, whereas your older ones are using 80, 90 watts. Gavin Brown, thank you very much for the £5. What do I owe that for, good sir? Yeah, notice your status has gone up now. You're a sir because of the money. I'll call you the king if you keep going. Okay, that resistor there is actually an important one. Thunderbolt 5-volt regulator. This here is a charge pump, or not charge pump, but it basically is needed for us to get the gate voltage up high enough to drive this MOSFET. If we don't have that, then we can't drive the high side MOSFET properly. Okay, so that's a 402 16 volt 0.1. $100 nanofarad. Just seeing if I actually have a 16 volt 100 nanofarad. Like I said, it's not super critical in a lot of these applications, but it doesn't hurt to try and get as close as you can. Even Daniel. Anyway, needless to say, that little cap is extremely important. That is the sort of cap that you don't just leave lying off the board. You know, sometimes people say, "Oh, just knock a cap off. It's not going to do anything. It doesn't matter." That is one of the caps that you absolutely cannot leave off. If you leave that off, you will not get your power. This one, on the other hand, is more of just a standard decoupler. 2.2 10 volt. I actually think I might have one of those. I don't normally pick up the 2.2 series. 2.2 25 volts. Going to be a little bit high on the impedance, but 2.2. Damn it. Alright, 25 volt it is. What's the matter, Travis? You got work obligations, do you? Well, we all do. Even when you're working at home for yourself, you get called away on things almost every 15 minutes. Oh, Gavin, thank you very much for that. Sadly, I have to say I really can't be on the ice cream anymore, but I'll find other treats. I'll definitely find other treats for me to have, but thank you for the thought. I do appreciate that. And if it doesn't go to an ice cream, you never know, it might actually go towards buying our way to a new board view or a new schematic. Okay, 10 microfarad, 10 volt. I kind of got lucky. The person who did the 820 2020 board, they're working on another board at the moment, and then it was planned or scheduled that they would do the 1958 afterwards, and I'd already taken photos of the 1958 on the scanner, getting ready to help them get started on that, and then lo and behold, it shows up on bad caps. So that person would be a little bit frustrated about that, because that's basically $500 they're missing out on now. But to be fair, there's going to be another board that needs to be done, so they'll still pick up the money one way or another. Decent things are you're not at the shop. I suppose Corona's kind of messed everything up in that way. Alright, so this next one is a 12 picofarad 25 volt. It's not really a critical one, but I'll certainly try and replace it. It's more of a high frequency noise suppression. So you add them in to keep the people who do the testing, to make sure you're not creating too much electrical noise. Keeps them happy. And I mean, look, to be fair, it does keep the system happy in general. The less noise you have running around, the less chance you will have of data corruption issues and whatnot. Oh, it's a 201. Oops, my bad. When you're down in these picofarad ranges, it's hard to be too critical. I got 4.7 picofarad. I am going to find a 12, don't worry. Yeah, I'm going to have to get that from another board though. Are they going to do other types of boards or only MacBooks? The money boards will mostly be MacBooks. Mostly because outside of MacBooks, what other laptops are there that there is an extremely high demand for in terms of repairing? That's where the problem is. It's like you say you take a Lenovo range, there's simply too many Lenovo's out there. The models change too quickly, and it's rare to encounter another one of those. I would probably say there's going to be more money in doing things like Samsung phones or something like that. After all the Apple stuff's done, then probably the Samsung phones will be the next on the line. Okay, so we're going to go find ourselves this 12 picofarad unit. 12 PF, 25 volts, 001. It should be on basically every single board, I would imagine. Oh, it's on the 165. We'll just go straight for that. Hey, Crazy J. But did you just... Alright, that's good. 1905, you're under the crystal next to the SMC. Jolly good. Hey, Deeb. Good evening. Ah, duh. I should have known it was those ones. It'll take a little while to get off. Good. Fixing things, you're talking about the framework laptop. I'll be happy when it's all come good on their promises and we have a board view and schematic available. Until then, I'll get a little bit worried that it might have been more of a smart marketing pitch. I just realised, I don't remember if I took anything off there. I don't think that I did. That looks like factory. Yeah, it's a resistor. It's most likely a no stuff factory. Yep, no stuff. Oh, finally found the limits of the pixelized resolution there. Like I said, they are saying they're going to release schematics and board views, but as you can imagine, the cynicism runs high. Only because it's easy to promise things, it's hard to deliver. And I do worry that they're going to encounter obstructions from whoever designed the board. But we'll see, you know, I'll be very happy to change my tune if it comes out, and I'll sing praise. It's just that I've been burned before. Like there was that Pine phone, I think it was. and there were all promises made about that, and in the end, it didn't get much. I mean, there were some bits of data released, but they were pretty against doing board views. I also had some promising headway into a ham radio company which does actually produce the information, but they produce it in PDF form. And when asked, could we consider exporting a board view, they kind of went, no. Which I did find interesting for the fact that it's like, well, you're already producing the board view and the PDF, and it is detailed, so I understand why, though. It's because they're sort of like, well, we already produced that information, you're going to make us have to do more work here, and we're definitely not in the mood for that. 25 volt 22, when do we in? Hey, we fix TVs, thank you very much for the €2. We're going to put that towards the ice cream fund as well. Here in Australia, and I'm sure in other countries, we had a magazine, Electronics Australia, and other countries have their own. And certainly my most enjoyable column in those magazines was always the repair guy column. And, we'd have these great tales of very frustrating repairs with TVs or radios, that sort of stuff. So I guess, in a way, that was actually a little bit of short story telling back then. There you go, there is a market for it, and I'm the consumer of it. But I was always enjoy reading that, listening to their torment. Fix and fix, too much work. It's like, well, we're already producing the data, why do we have to do anything further? It was ham radio stuff. It's one of the big brands of ham radio, by the way. And like I said, they already do produce it in their PDFs. It just would have been nice if they could go on that extra step, because it would make it easier for servicing their gear. But they said nay, and that came from Japan, which basically reveals which company it is. We've got a lot more work here. Yeah, Drachin, I mean, that is correct. They do have a silkscreen on there, but I gotta say, I kind of mocked the idea of board views originally, because I was thinking, well, like you've just said, the parts of silkscreen on there, what the hell do you need a board view for? And personally, I find board views are useful for so much more than just finding where the parts are. The fact that it gives you that visual representation of where the networks are going, and the fact that it only takes you 1/10 of a second to find the part, rather than still taking 2 or 3 minutes sometimes to find the parts, particularly when R6300 is almost on the other side of the board of R6301, and you're like, why the hell did they do that for? It happens, you know it. Or you'll have R6000, R6002, R6003, and so on. But R6001, where the hell is that? No one knows. It's gone. And you find it's jammed in some crazy place that you'd never think to look. I do know that the better schematics and part index lists, they will actually list it according to what grid it's sitting in. It doesn't happen too often. I think it's a case of once you get used to it, for like we are on board with laptops and stuff like that, going back to the ham gear, you will probably find it perhaps more painful without the board views. It's a bit like when you're used to driving an ordinary car, and then you go and you get yourself a BMW, a Mercedes, or something high-end, and then you go back to the ordinary car, and you're kind of like, okay, I was happy enough with the ordinary car, but now I'm a ruined person, and I want my fancy car again. So, I mean, yeah, you can do it, you can go back. I just think once you get used to the convenience, it's a little hard to go back. And also, people who do ham radio repair, you're not actually electronics people, you're wizards. Goddamn wizards. Ham radio stuff, honestly, it's black magic, that stuff. People look at the bunch of coils and wires and go, oh yeah, I see, the second regen circuit there is about half a tap turn out, and I'm just going to fix it up, this hacked up piece of metal, copper shielding I found, and I cut to the right length, and what do you know, there you are, it all works again. RF stuff, radio people, microwave systems, it's all wizardry. It's not really electronics. It belongs at Hogwarts. Okay, so we have actually lost all of the trace there. The parts are unobtainium. Really? Okay. That I wasn't expecting. Alright, so in this particular situation, we've got corrosion that's etching in underneath this MOSFET, so I might have to lift the MOSFET to have a better look and see what's going on. And that's a small thing that could someone make an 84.0. Basically, apart from, well, the board view that we have, of course, is the 875. Apart from the absence of the PI3 242432, or no, PR32 2424, I don't think there's anything really different. So I could actually do that for you. I could make a genuine 840 board with that part included in on it. I might just replace this out of an abundance of caution. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I know what you mean about, yeah, those parts, things like the 2SC 1972, 1971 match pairs and things like that. Yeah, alright. I understand now. That's the other thing that I hated about radios and such, was the fact that those parts that you ordered were very specific because of the fact, they're the analog type behaviors and the transfer, everything about it was so fickle. Even down to the batch numbers sometimes. Like, people say, oh yeah, go get a BN663 or whatever, AXVF or something. And you end up with a 663 AXVQ. I'm making up absolute crap here, by the way, just in case anyone's wondering. And you find it doesn't work, and so you spend a few hours going mad, and eventually you consult with someone. They go, oh yeah, you got the wrong one. You got to make sure it's got that last letter absolutely right. That stuff just drives you mad. So that's what I'm saying. People who work on that sort of gear, they're wizards. Audio amplifiers, things like the old Class A, particularly Class A actually, or Class AB. They're sort of in that similar realm of insanity. And so that's often why I didn't bother with doing repairs for a good portion of my life. It wasn't until the sturdiness, the trustworthiness, the dependability of digital electronics came along that I finally decided that this is my realm to work in, because I'm not smart enough to deal with that kind of wizardry. But some people just love that stuff, and yeah, that's great, because we need people who like that. Hey Pianov. You'll need to manually trace out the nets since schematics are not available. That shouldn't be hopefully too much of a problem if we just use a continuity brush. Yeah, it might take half a day or so. Let's see what I'm in the mood for. Alright, I've got to decide what I'm going to do here. If this here is just a high frequency filter cap, then I might be okay. Switch over to the schematic. So what do we got? Okay, yeah, okay. 211.1. So that one's a little more important in terms of operational stability. And that one's also more of a high frequency noise suppression. I can actually just smush them all together. So I'll smush the 12 and the 3. I could actually, strictly speaking, leave them off, but I'm trying not to. But 211 definitely should be there. So that's a 100 nanofarad, 35 volt. That might be out of my range spec. Especially if I'm looking in the 402 box. Hey Aircrafts, hello. Gundet. Okay, I've got a 35 volt, 100 nanofarad, so that's good. And the other two I'll pick off from somewhere else. I know where to get the 12 at least. Although I don't know if that's going to be 35 volt rated. The actual positioning of these doesn't matter too much, because they're all just on that one pad. And let's go to microscope. Yeah, so for those people arriving, this is primarily a janitor board. It's come in with kernel fault issues, but it looks like it's been created by essentially unstable circuitry. Okay, we can actually use the 12 picofarad from the crystal. That one up there will do it. Interestingly, these crystal ones are 25 volt rated, but that 100 nanofarad we put down, that's a 35 volt rated. So I don't need it to be 35 volt rated, but what they've done is they've probably picked that 35 volt one because there's something else nearby that's using the same part. and it's more economical in terms of time and bulk purchasing with the pick and place to just simply throw a 35 volt one down rather than only bothering for 25 volt. There's quite a lot of math that goes into optimizing the cost and time of production of these boards, well beyond the actual when you design the board. So you design the board, you pick the parts that you think you need, and then after you've done all that, the other team comes in and they actually optimize the board for minimizing the cost and the time involved to actually assemble them. So if you can save 10 seconds or 5 seconds a board over a million boards, you know, that's a lot of time to save. Alright, so now we need a 3 picofarad, which is this one here, 3 picofarad, 25 volts here, picofarad. I could have put a 4.7 on there. Honestly, the way you solder them, or if there's an air gap under the cap, probably affects the capacitance within that range. Oh, I just realized what's wrong here. I've got to put 3.0. Yeah. Yeah, it suffers kernel panic problem, and from what I can see, it's all just a case of a lot of bad. We had one completely shorted cap, and it's just a lot of very messy, corroded parts. 4924's got one. See if a 165 comes up. Fixing things. Tell me I'll never ever change a battery from an iPad Pro 10.5. Oh wow, really that bad? Slowly getting there. Is it one of those jobs where you sort of, once you've dived in, you realise you've dived into something that you don't want to, but you got no choice, you have to just push through it? Well, I do sympathise to your plight. I do get a few of those sick in your stomach type jobs every now and then. I did have a funny one today though. Once I find my 4924. Oh, it's the U-shaped battery now. Okay, I didn't know about that. Crafts, no, I don't do training. I'm no good as a trainer. I do not have the personality to train people. At least not not in the normal sort of go like Jesse Jones type style. Jason. Hey Jason, did you get those parts? Did you get those bits and pieces I sent back? Oh, you having issues with your Flex board view? I don't know who you are. I don't know anything about Flex board view. You were in the wrong place. Move on. Actually, was that last? It was the night before last. Last night I had the 3437 that was from hell. Okay, we don't have a pad there, but what we're going to do is we'll just butt it up against this cap here, it's not going to be any problem whatsoever. Just like that. The funny job I had today, I got a call, well not a call, a message this morning, and the person was saying that their HP all-in-one as of this morning was coming up with the message of check HDMI input. And that's kind of interesting because these things do not have an HDMI input. It's just not there. And they couldn't get it to boot, and all the payroll is on there naturally, because that's always what happens. Anyway, so I take the machine in and I pull it apart, thinking, okay, maybe I've just got a bad main board or something like that. And I spend about half an hour on it, and I'm like, this just doesn't feel right. There's something I'm missing here. But I say to the customer, look, I just can't find a fault. I can't fix it. So if it's urgent and it's your payroll system, we'll quote you for a replacement. And we're going to get them a nice little NUC unit with a good quality screen. And I think it was about $1,500 all up. But then I was just about to hit the order button on those parts, and I thought, you know what, I feel like I've really missed something obvious here, and I'm a bit of an idiot. And I go back to the machine, and I realise that because of my god-awful vision in the limited light room that I was working in, there's 3 buttons on the side of these HP all-in-ones, and I thought, okay, one of them is the on-off button and the other 2 are just like volume up, volume down. Completely wrong. The on-off button's on the other side, a great big whopping one, and I just didn't see it. And what had happened, and this is actually what happened to the client, is someone else had used this machine and they had pressed one of these 3 buttons on the side. One of those buttons is an input select button, it seems. And so what happened is then it switched over trying to look for a different video input somehow. Anyway, so once I used the real on-off button, what do you know? It comes up and it worked. So I didn't charge them anything for that. I felt pretty stupid. But, dumb things happen. They did get charged, however, for their iPhone SE 2020 that got run over by their forklift. And amazingly, it was actually okay. It was just a very pulverized screen, but aside from, and a little bit of a bend left, width-wise on it. But aside from that, up it ran, no problems at all. It probably helped that due to the nature of the way the forklift ran over it, it was very straight over, so it was more of a compressive type crush, and the chassis took it in its stride. Can't have been a very big forklift. Nonetheless, it was still impressive. I think it depends on what load they have on the forklift, how heavy the forklift is. Does the forklift use different type of tires and things like that? But yeah, it was fine. I told them to back it up, of course. Alright, so this MOSFET here is it's a dual package FDP, whatever that is. We'll just copy that, search, fine. We're really using the fine part facility tonight. I'd say it was one of the soft tire ones, Jim. Yeah. Would backing up the forklift unflatten the phone? Only if it's in reverse, yeah. Jason, what's your problem with flexible view, by the way? Oh, here we go. Using the Macbook Pro A1278 with Windows, but now Flex opens and closes. What did you do to it? Yeah. Is it just the one board view that it does that on? Or is it on all the board views now? Craziest fan I ever saw was bent to a 90-degree angle from a lady that caught... Oh, in the car boot, yeah. That's certainly one. But the other way is when people... They're holding their phone or talking or something and they close the door, the car door, onto them. And they sort of move their hand to get through the seatbelt or something. And because of the size of the phone, it gets jammed between the closing door and, of course, the I-beam on the chassis. And it crushes it in and makes it bend like that. So, but car boot, that's even better. The worst, of course, is when they put it in their back pocket and sit on it and then try to tell you that you're at fault for it. It's like, no. It's like, nope. I saw you put that in your back pocket as you left here and go and sit in your car. Do not tell me that it just happened. The nightstand may strike, but it does not strike like that. Slow the Mac is my Windows PC. Grab an Apple finesse. It could be. Check. There should be a flexbv.log file, depending on what version of flexbv you're using, and it might give you an idea. Try run it from the command line. Once I'm finished with this, I'll try to give you a hand and not be too snarky about it. I'll try to be a nice person today. Come on, get off. Just realised we've got to get the fuse as well for... We removed the fuse, it was looking a bit dodgy on this one. This is definitely going to be one of those boards where I'm definitely, you know, whatever I charge for it, it's going to be worth it, because this is certainly turning into a long job. So we get that to flow again. Okay, that's good. Hey, Travis. Okay, see you later. Okay, F3000, what are we? 6 amp, 603. I actually do have those. I'm kind of curious if the 840's got the same one. Pardon me. Six amp, 603, yep. Another fine guess there, Paul. Another fine guess. So that's it there. Even though that looks like a cap because it's all brown, it's actually a... Ah, Steven Seagal's back. Is there a way to put a new CPU in the BGA socket? Yes, there is, but the equipment required and the time, it may not make it, yeah, may not be worth it. It's like when Lewis would do the GPU replacements. It was mildly entertaining. I actually didn't find it as entertaining as his normal repairs, but anyway. Just thinking, I haven't put any leaded solder on those pads. You get a lot of iPhone screens that magically crack themselves a week later. That's because you're using the cheap ones, isn't it? Do you do the XS Max, by the way? Because at this point I still don't do the XS Max. I dislike the cost of them. I just send them to Townsville. Same with the 11 Pro Max, yeah, Pro Plus or whatever. It's like I don't want to touch that thing. There are certain cost ratios that I just don't want to get involved with. You do the 11 Pro Max, so you've got the turnover for it. That's the thing. You see, I don't really have the turnover for it. If someone messes up, or I mess up on the 11 Pro Max, at this point with the current cost of them, it's going to hurt me too much. And I really don't get many of them out here. Okay, I am going to take a couple more caps off this area because they look a bit shonky to me. Remember, I don't want this coming back. It was a remnant of AMD software from the ASUS, removed it in the Intel vid drivers. Oh, okay, cool. Oh. Yeah, Jason, there is sometimes a problem with the AMD drives. I don't know why. It's something about the OpenGL implementation. I believe Pionov knew what was going on, but I am sad to say you're not the first person who's encountered that with the AMD OpenGL issues. So I don't know what the deal is. Really, yes, I definitely like my bubble. I nearly died, well, I didn't really nearly die, not literally. But we have on the front gate to get into here, it's like a 6-foot mesh fence with fold back on it and everything. And there's 2 latches on the gate. There's an interior latch, there's an exterior latch. And then we also hook a padlock through the eyelet to stop the interior latch from being popped open. And one of the people coming to pick up stuff today, because we hadn't actually clipped the padlock shut, because we just sort of hook it on there and turn the buckle around so it looks like it's shut, they had wormed their hand into the inside through the mesh on the fence to take that buckle off. And so when they rang the doorbell, I was like, what the hell? I really felt like giving them a piece of my mind. Especially because, they could have just messaged me and say, we're here, and then I'd go out and meet them. And this is why people get bitten by dogs. Because they just sort of come into the yard without honouring the fact that it has got a latch and padlock holding it shut. Okay, Pionov. There you go. See, Pionov's always got answers. Thank you, Pionov. Well, Jimbo, I was going to get some new doorbells because the new ones that I did get are complete crap. I can't hear them for the life of me. So I've got to get a better doorbell and a couple of them. So it'll be on the outside, and we're going to make it so that the fence will now have a solid framework on it with a bank teller perspex screen. We're just not going to let people come into the yard anymore. We're just sick of it. You can't trust people. People will just start unlatching gates. I don't know why, but they just start unlatching gates once they're inside the property. So why did you do that? It's like the front door's right there, it's got the business sign and everything on it. Cannot trust people. They're a bunch of bastards. Okay, I'm just finding out what those caps are. Hook the doorbell to a truck air horn, that'd be good. I do have some webcams, but they've gotten a bit old now, so I'm going to replace them. Get some nice, 5 megapixel and then record at about 2 megapixel. Joseph, I do have one of those, and that's the problem. See, the trouble is, this house has so many rooms, and I'm obviously not in the rooms. So even with 2 doorbells with flashing lights, I don't always catch it. So the only other way is to have something permanently in my ear, and haven't been wearing hearing aids for a great many years, I kind of can do without that in a hurry. I am thinking of putting magnetic latches on there as well, Nico, yeah. Magnetic latches are very nice because it tends to defeat people when they first look at it because they're trying to find a way to actually get in, but because it's, you know, magnetic plate stuck together, they can't. Jason, what's this? Your neighbour asked you to take your webcams down? Seriously? They said they wanted to shower in peace. Why do you have the webcam pointed at their shower? Why? Okay. Oh, damn it, people, you're distracting. Okay, so I need these 15 microfarad 402s, so those of you who have been watching the last couple of days will know I get them from the iPhone, and lo and behold, it's the iPhone 6 again. I just gotta remember which one. On the iPhone 6. Down here, one of these ones. Not you, okay. There we go. You watch, this board probably already has them stolen. Yeah, you can see I've already been at it. At it like a deranged man. Okay, we'll see if any of these ones are the 15s, but I don't think they are. Nope, you're a 10. Yeah, no, they're all 10s on that one, so I'll just get myself a fresh board to steal parts from. Hey, Gibbo! Yeah, admin media, I actually don't want sponsors. It's pretty much as simple as that. I do not want sponsors. Sponsors? Ah, what the hell? This board's all janked up with liquid damage. Mind you, that one there's okay. The main reason why you don't want sponsors is they can start to dictate the way that you behave with certain things, and I don't really want that. I want to be able to just do and say as I feel at the time. I mean, I know other people are perfectly fine with sponsors, and that's great, but I just can't handle it. I don't like that oversight. I mean, one of the people that I draw a lot of inspiration from for videos, Alex Steele, is really into his sponsors, even if it is something terrible like Shadow Legends or NordVPN. And that's pretty much illustrates my point, though, is that, you know, he's advertising for things that, particularly things like NordVPN. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, you kind of got your customers in a bit of a mess there, your viewers, but it wasn't obviously his fault directly. I just find it too contrived. PCBWay, yeah, I've had them contacting me. And it's like, no thanks. Think sponsorship can harm your credibility. Yeah, agreed. Nice try there, Jason. How's your Pepsi IMAX? Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I will promote products if I feel that I'm happy with them. I don't need the sponsorship for that. I.e. that compressed air, that air compressor that I'm using for cleaning my boards and all that. Yeah, I'll recommend that to people. I'll put that on my tool list. But I don't want to actually get sponsorship from a Zito. you lose your independence, you lose your objectivity, and sooner or later, I mean, look, to be honest, it's not like you're going to lose your viewership, because there's no shortage of people with massive viewerships that have plenty of sponsors. It doesn't seem to hurt them, but I still won't do it. Give a, let's see, a 2011 iMac stopped working properly. Tried rebooting, went to yellow and grey vertical lines. Yeah, GPU, yep. Well, look, put it this way, most of the time it's the GPU on that I'm aware of. I mean, I don't work on those, but I've seen enough posts on the various repair groups to know that it seems to always be, well, not always, but mostly always is GPU. Gotta be careful saying always. There's always some sort of, here we go, I'm just doing it again. There is frequently an anecdotal case that, well, I should say, what's the term they use? It's the, something that defines the rule. It's the exception that defines the rule. That's it. Crikey, this has been a long repair. I just better check that that fuse actually has continuity. Yep. Still can't believe I actually finally manned up and opened up the multimeter just so I could change the buzzer in it. It was a bit of a challenge for me, because, you know, I spent quite a bit of money on that thing, and if I did go and modify it, obviously my warranty would be null and void. So I need to be absolutely sure I wanted to go ahead with this, and those two caps definitely need to take a hike. They're devious at best. Bonsoir, nuts and prouds. Ça va? Ed Boss, what laptop are you putting back together? Yeah, the multimeter was effectively useless when it came to letting that buzzer go. Even in a quiet room, I could not hear it. I mean, that doesn't say much, because I am, as you know, I do have hearing issues. But that said, it was pathetically weak. Now I'm a little bit... Why is this board creeping towards me? I'm just trying to make sure I don't melt that connector. But yeah, that buzzer was useless. And it's not because it was a circuit board mounted little half-incher. I've got half-inch circuit board mounted buzzers that will make your ears hurt. I use them for my locating alarms or low battery alarms for model aircraft. So it definitely is entirely doable, but you just have to drive them appropriately within an inch of their life. And yeah, you just got to pick the right ones. But I think the problem is that the one that they did put on the board, it's a self-excited buzzer, so probably internally was far more limited. It's just meant to be like a little calculator buzzer or something, rather than a genuine alert buzzer. Okay, so we need to replace those two caps there. We're going schematics. Ach niemand. Okay, so it's this one, 4206, which, funnily enough, is another 15 microfarad. Okay, and this one is another 2.2. Okay, 2.2, 6.3, 201. Oh, we'll have a win tonight. I'm not going to have a win, am I? Nope. Damn it. Lousy little SOB. A good meter would have buzzer volume. I agree. You should be able to program that, particularly a meter like this. You should be able to say, give it at least 3 levels as well as mute. So make it 4. There's too many places we'll go, we gave it 3 levels, high, low and off. And it's like, yeah, nice one. I think I'm going to need another 165 board. Not 165 board, iPhone 6 board. Because I'm pretty sure I depleted all the 15 microfarad caps off that other one. I'm just looking at my holder. There it is. My stream is diversified, yet I sit here doing much the same thing every night, don't I? Up. There we go. Get a couple more of those 15 microfarad caps. Though these ones still have the filler in them, so I'm going to have to remove that first. Okay, Stephen, take care. John Robert, off, low, medium, high heart attack. That reminds me of IT Crowd when Roy gets Moss to improve the vibrator on his new phone, and it comes into effect very well when he's at the funeral session or whatever it is. Yeah, those people who watched IT Crowd will know exactly what I'm talking about. Good thing he didn't put it up to level 10. He could blow his rooster off. Thank you for the scope warning. Okay, well, I mean, most of my work is still MacBooks, but I suppose I get forced into different things. I still haven't had a chance to do any further work on my open board data capture boards. I've got to get them done and sent out. That was supposed to happen this week, but, well, life does have its tendency of... Plans were made for ruining, I guess. That looks really dirty, but it's okay. Admiring my brilliant flexboard. Oh, that's very nice of you. Good suck up there. Hey, Bike Gamer. Oh, it looks like the gamers are turning up. Let's see. They're a little bit late, but they are turning up. Where did I get my 2.2 201s again? I should know, because it's not the first time I've... Kitty update. Well, pretty much everybody's going okay. Where I've still got to build a proper home for the wildlings, because summer's coming on very fast. They really should not be up in the ceiling space. It gets exceptionally hot. Even on a 35-degree day, it's going to be too hot for them, but they go up there for the safety. However, it's a very costly thing to do, either time or money. And I'm still waiting on quotes from some shed places. So even if I spend, let's say 7,000 on a 6x3 meter shed with a slab, I still then have to insulate it on the walls, and you have to do a lot of work to make it so that it's basically like a normal room walking into, as opposed to walking into a shed where it's like, okay, you got these tin walls and yeah, stuff like that. You really want something that's got some good integrity and durability against the weather as well. Okay, so it looks like the iPhone 6 is another winner. What are we looking for on this? C0204 on the iPhone 6. I swear I've dealt with this one before. Ah, yeah, that's right, above the PMIC. No, I do want a slab because we need to be able to wash the room out. There are times when, say if you have a disease issue, you need to be able to wash that floor with bleach and really give it a good scrubbing so that it doesn't cause further contamination with others. The other thing is, like, if we have a vet come in so that they can inspect the health of the wildlings and whatever other foster cats we have, we want to be able to have a washable surface for that. I'll probably see if I can put a stainless steel bench in there as well. I mean, obviously you can get away without doing that, but I want it to be as good as possible. The other thing is, if we want to spend time out there getting them social to humans and things like that, we want to be comfortable as well. I'll put a couch out there, maybe a small TV, just to get them used to dealing with humans, because a lot of the times we will get foster cats in and they really need to become accustomed to humans again. Any idea what's new in the up-and-coming Pi 5? Oh, didn't know there was a Pi 5 coming out. I guess it makes sense. I thought the Pi 4 was exceptionally impressive. It's getting to the point where most people could have a fair majority of their connectivity and activity needs handled by a Pi. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the Pi 5 brings about. Maybe they'll actually bring on board SATA now, or maybe NVMe support or something like that. Can get good stainless bench. Yeah, from catering places. That's where I was planning on getting them. Certainly cheaper than getting from medical supplies places. Because they'll add a premium because of the fact that it's medical. Okay, I think we're good here. Now, of course, this all that work, and this was a board that was actually working before I started on it. So now we're going to have to hope that it continues to work after I've done my, work on it. It's quite impressive that it was functioning as well as it did, given the level of damage that we have repaired on this. Would you repair gaming consoles? Yes, actually, I've got no problem with that, but I just haven't really marketed it. But I was preparing to do Nintendo Switches, and I got a bunch of parts for it and all that, but in the end, no one really. I think I've had one or two, and that's it. It's not a very common item for me to repair or be even inquired about, but that's probably because of the way I'm marketing it. I find I do have this issue where unless I internally feel like I'm set up properly for something, I kind of project. This is all esoteric type stuff, but I project some sort of thing and it keeps people away until I'm actually ready. And actually it happens with it happens with even my software. Like if I feel like I haven't got things ready to put out for sale yet, then even if it is out there, I don't get the inquiries or anything like that. But as soon as I feel like it's ready to go and I feel confident in what I've got, then the sales roll in. Let's see. Did Paul see your suggestion? Which suggestion? You mentioned the Pi, and oh yeah, I saw Clive Sinclair pass away. That was unfortunate. I guess it happens, yeah. You know, everybody does every day get older, but still, it was certainly an important person in the history of computers, particularly for people, yeah, consumers. Let's see, so 20 volts, and we're jumping up to 1.4 amps, so this thing is running. Jason wanted to do boards for MRIs. Oh, right. I often wonder, with medical equipment like that, is there some sort of insurance compliance you have to have in case you do something and the modification or the repair you did is actually incorrect and you end up killing some people? So, market the switch because the manufacturer slowly repair them. I think what's holding me up at the moment is I've got the open board data system that I've really got to get nailed down properly, the specifications done, so that other people can then now incorporate that into their software, like open board view and things like that. And it's weighing on me, and I can't really move on to new stuff until I've got that sorted out. So I am trying hard to get it finalized. But if you've ever done software development and concurrently are doing some sort of standard development, you'll know that it tends to be a bit of a progressive step system where you never get to the end, where you fix up the software, but then you think, oh, I actually could do with this little bit of extra specification in the standard, so you adjust the standard. And then you go back to the software and you go, oh, now that I've got that standard set, I've found this up, and it just keeps up and up and up going. And you never get it released properly. But the thing that currently is holding me up most is I still have to come up with the ideal way, or something close to ideal, for submission of repair guides. So if we go to schematics, I'll bring up the 165, that's probably the most populous one. And over here, so we've got these notes and solutions. I should actually just call it guides. And like in this case, say missing PM sleep S4L, or what have I got? Backlight diagnosis. And these, they're not overly complicated, but they can be if you want to. But they're just little sequences, and then it has active links that will take you on the board where you got to go check and tell you what you got to check for, and to help you diagnose what could be wrong. And I want people to be able to submit those, but it has to be human. There's a human element of checking it, and that is always going to be a pain. Because sure, I might do the first 10, maybe 20, maybe even 100, but at some point I'm going to go, God damn, I really hate doing these, and I wish someone else would do it. As in, you're checking to make sure that it's genuine and someone hasn't put in something nefarious, or, like place meter into continuity mode and put probes across PP bus and ground while power is applied. Yeah, stuff like that. It sounds like it's dumb, but unfortunately it happens. People do that. Do I ever sleep? No. Does the leader ask to go camping? No. For us, camping is basically just living here. For us, a holiday will be sleeping through the night. Honestly, sleeping through the night. Getting more than 4 hours continuous would be an absolutely beautiful experience. Come on, overhead. That's what I was after. Alright, so I've just got the privacy protector there. $50 million public liability is all. Oh, that's actually not too bad. Yeah, that's. I think I have something close to that already, just for the business. So yeah, worth looking into. All right, so powering up, 20 volts. Saw it jump to 1 amp for a split second. Okay, now it's going back. I think that was a bong. we've got an Apple logo. It's a little dim, but it is actually there. It's not, what do you call it? It's not a failed backlight. $50 million public liability doesn't actually cost that much to get. Okay, this is working. Not sure why the backlight's so dim, but it is definitely working. Wow, it really is dark. I'll just check see if there's a password for this. Get in there and increase the brightness. The big problem with trying to get sleep is that it's the little damn fur kids that are the problem. Let's see, what is this? 889. That is not an easy password to ascertain. Okay, I'm just going to try something. Hopefully I don't kill myself in the process. How they even see the mouse cursor is beyond me. Wow, I actually guessed it right. Well, we shouldn't say guessed it. Okay, the problem we're facing here is that the... Damn it. The bar does not work. The touch bar doesn't work. Now, I don't know if they're aware of that or what. I'm pretty sure I had everything plugged in. Okay, they have the brightness right down. Okay, now I can actually see it. They really have the brightness right down. It was like it failed at midnight or something. But the touch bar is not operating, so that's a bit of a concern. I can see the touch bar backlight is on. Yeah, I'm kind of a bit concerned about showing... Oh, well, maybe this is okay. Yeah, so it works fine. I can see there's a backlight on the touch bar, but I've got no data showing on the touch bar, so this may be yet more work ahead for me, which is going to suck eggs. I will have to check with the client and ask them, was the touch bar functional or not? And the reason why I think it may actually be related to the problem is because this here is the area that we've been working on, and that is where the touch bar connectivity goes. So there may be another component that's gone a bit wonky. And unfortunately, I didn't bother to check that functionality before I embarked upon the repair. So that's one of those sort of, oops, I best remember to check that for all future jobs that you do for a couple of times and then you get slack again. they'll say it was, of course. Yeah, naturally they'll. Okay, 1 o'clock in the morning. Jeez. So yeah, we're working up here. Now, forget one of them. Okay, so we've got the backup, but they had no data transfer to it. I don't know if the touch was actually working. I should have tried randomly pressing things. Let's see if anything would come up. Just going to quickly check on the board view. Yes, it is. It's a difficult question, Miles. Yes, it is a difficult question. Okay. Okay, touch connector. I would say we're not going to be worried about that so much. It should be 4401. Display connection is more where we're looking for issues. Okay, bye gamer. Have a good evening. Okay, so let's try check randomish parts. There's certainly enough going on in here that's related to the touch bar. Let's see, what about you guys? L4400. Okay, so the display filters. That's these little beasts here. Yeah, maybe they're not quite right. There's a little bit of corrosion by them. This is so much. What about that cap there? That's a bit dodgy. So let's bring out the continuity. Let's see if we can get continuity where we're meant to and where we're not meant to. Okay, that's fine. Okay, continuity is a little dodgy there, but I think it's more my probes. Yep. Yep. So we definitely have continuity there. It's not to say that the filters aren't bad. You can have continuity on filters, but at the high frequencies they are a bit dodgy. So given that there's a little bit of damage there, I may well consider replacing them. Do note this will predominantly be all done tomorrow. It's getting late now. This is the time where when you try to do things, you will most likely chuck it up. Okay, let's see what the cap's for, that little 3v3 DFR switch. Not sure what DFR switch is. DFR display power now. Okay, so that's part of just making sure it turns on slowly or something, rather than erratically jumping on. So it looks like I've got more work ahead of me. The first thing I'll do is replace these filters. Let's see, 4401. Might just start having to replace basically anything and everything that looks even remotely sus around here. Not that cap maybe, though I think that cap's more with the CPU. Don't worry, that chipping is just the plastic cover. C4204. It's just a RAM decoupling. VDD main buck. Okay. Yeah. Alright. Alright, well, I think small cap on the right corner of the test pad looks pretty bad. There's a few. Oh, this one here is pretty bad. I'm not sure what you mean about the test pad. There's a test pad's over here. Can't really see anything. That one looks okay. But I might go through and actually swap these parts. These chips could easily, if any of them are BGA. Are any of them BGA? Okay, 4401 is BGA. The rest, maybe 4405. It's a DFR switch, yeah. Yeah. Alright. Okay, well, I think that's enough for tonight. It's been a bit of a long process. Certainly, yeah, almost as bad as the other night. But at least it does boot and it does run. I suspect we have actually solved the kernel fault error, but now we've got the touch bar error, which probably they may not have even been aware if it was faulty because they would have been focused on the kernel failure. We'll see. Like I said, I've got backlight on it, so that's a start. I'll have to dig in, just start replacing parts rather than trying to actually debug it. It's quicker to just pull those chips, put new ones down and new filters and see how we go. Alright, I'm out of here. You all take care. Thank you very much for being here. I'm much appreciated as always. Keeps me entertained while I'm doing this work at the middle of the night. Hopefully you found it entertaining too. I'll catch you next time. See you later.